Welcome, guys, to John's Football Channel. This is your post review of Man United 3, Liverpool 2. What an interesting game this was, as to how it started, how it happened in the second half, and actually how it finished. So let's get into it and let's actually analyze the team lineups and let's go on from there. So obviously with Man United, they had Lemons in goal, Dalot, Maguire, Havens, and then Shaw as their defense. And then in the CDMs, they went with Casemiro and Mainu. And then ahead of them, they went with Mbeno, Fernandes, and Cunha. And then ahead of them, they went with Seco as a striker. And then if we look at Liverpool, they went with Woodman in goal. They went with Curtis Jones as the right back, Kanate, Van Dijk, and Robertson as a defense. And then ahead of them, we went Frimpong, Grubenberg, McAllister, and Ganapo, Gapo as the midfield, and ahead of them was Szoboszlai and Wirtz. So if we take a look as to how it actually happened, how the teams actually played, I think it was quite interesting to see that. I think with Man United it was straightforward in terms of formation and positioning. I think they did exactly what they wanted to do with Casemiro playing as a CDM. I think Maino was just ahead of him a little bit. And then Mbeno obviously is trying to stretch the play, being as wide as possible, as well as Cunha. And then Bruno in the midfield and Sissoko up front, trying to make sure that they can actually just be there just to in case to make the runs and actually to put the ball in the back of the net. Where with Liverpool, I think it was quite tricky. I think they actually killed themselves. And we mentioned this in the preview of how we don't see how Curtis Jones playing there, and I don't think he actually played there. We know Frimpong played the wing. They played the wing. Szoboszlai I think was more as a cam, and then Wirtz. I think it was more Wirtz and Gapo as the strikers, and then Szoboszlai, McAllister, and Gravenberg as the midfield. But as the team was going, I think they actually, because they didn't have an actual out and out right back, and I think they also went with a weird formation. I think they went with a back three and tried to do something with it. I think the problem with playing with a back three is that the fact that you can play with a back three when you're defending, but now when you go to the team and actually you want to show something and actually want to perform, I don't think you are able to play that formation and have players up front and as well as the defense. I think it makes your team very unbalanced, and it's exactly what we saw when the game was being played in the first half. The first half was very end to end, but you could clearly see Man United's team. They would look like they can actually give you something, but can also handle it as well. Where with Liverpool, they would either be on or off. Either they're attacking and they're actually putting some pressure or trying to get out of their box, or they were actually trying to defend. And I think that's where the problem comes in. I think most of the team didn't know exactly how to actually get their goals. But let's get into it. So first off, they actually went with obviously there was a corner, and Mbeno takes the corner, and then it falls to Cunha. Cunha ends up taking a shot. I think it was deflected. Came back to him, and then it deflected again and went into the goals. And then from there was a 6 minutes, and then 14. I think about 6 minutes later or 7 minutes later, exactly after each other, Benjamin Sissoko scores. I think that was when they were trying to put it in and didn't go in, and then afterwards they were recycling the play and happened again, where I think it was Cunha who ends up heading the ball into the box, and Lemons tries to dive for it and try to get it off Benjamin Sissoko, but didn't actually end up getting there in the end. He ends up missing the ball, and it is a question of, I think, for Liverpool supporters and them on their side, I think they would be actually angry and saying, how is this not a goal? I think but it's very soft if they had to argue that. It was very, very small margins of a touch from Benjamin. So I think, yes, you could be, if you want to be really, really critical and say, yes, it's not supposed to be a goal, but I think that also the rules need to be stated that if you touch the ball with your hand and actually it turns the ball around or or has an effect on the ball to a big scale, I think that's when you can call it a handball or something like that. But Benjamin Sissoko's hands or his fingertips touched it. There was no influence on the ball going anywhere else but in the goals. They did nothing for either Man United or Liverpool at that stage. So I think hence why they actually went with a goal, and I think hence why it was 2-0 in the first 15 minutes of the game. And then afterwards, they end up pushing. I think obviously at this stage with Slot's team not knowing what to do, I think hence why they didn't do anything in the first half. And I was quite surprised going into the second. They didn't do anything again. They didn't try to make some changes, try to rectify their mistakes. I think that's very, very poor from Arne Slot, and I think hence why. I think it's starting to make sense now as to why he bought so many good players in the window. I think it was a case of for him to cover himself. I think it was a case of him thinking he was able to coach Liverpool for the next couple of years with just telling players just to play. I think that's his mentality. I think he doesn't really, the way it comes off, it doesn't look like he really knows what he's doing. And I think hence why they did so well last season. I think it's because they were still fresh with Klopp's ideas and everything, and I think they just ran with it. But now it's difficult to keep remembering and keep practicing something that you don't actually believe in or you don't really understand how to actually play it. And I think hence why they bought so many good players, but now he's not able to utilize them to the way he needs to because he doesn't know exactly how to coach them. So in the second half, Man United ended up making some subs, taking off Benjamin. I was quite surprised with that. Taking off Benjamin Sissoko, I think probably they needed more pace. They knew that Liverpool had the ball, and I think bringing on Ahmad had a bit more pace on him, so he knew that he was going to be able to cause some more mayhem than Benjamin staying on, which was, I suppose, wasn't the worst call to make. Kind of makes sense. And then surprisingly, Sabazlai ends up getting the goal in the 47th minute. I think this is when I believe it was when Ahmad lands up playing the wrong ball into the midfield carelessly, and then Sabazlai ends up running with the ball into the midfield and in towards the box, and then no one knows what to do. And Sabazlai was so calm, so composed. He ends up putting the ball through one of the defenders' legs, and it ends up going into the bottom right-hand corner of the goals. And I think from then that was actually an opportunity for them to know, okay, now guys, let's get some momentum from this, and actually let's go for the second to make it a draw. And that's exactly what they did. But it was likely from them in the second half where then the Man United's goalkeeper, what's his name? Lemons ends up making a poor mistake trying to play the ball from the back, which was quite crazy that he actually decided to do that, knowing he can clearly see there's opposition right nearby. But he ends up making that careless mistake, and it ends up punishing him because Sabazlai, Gapo, and I'm not quite sure who was the third player, but there was 3 players involved, and ends up making it 2-2. They actually end up making sure they capitalize on Man United's mistake. And then after that, they end up, surprisingly, Liverpool ends up making some subs, taking off Robertson, which wasn't the best sub. I think it was just a normal sub. It was like for like. I think hence Slot didn't know exactly what to do. He ends up taking off Robertson and letting him play on Curtis, and I think that's might have much effect on the game, and I think hence why Liverpool lost this game. It was much deserved because of them not knowing what to do and then not actually realizing they've made mistakes and they have to be punished for them. Then we'll end up seeing a couple of yellow cards going into the second half. I think that's when, because people are trying to be tight, people are not actually running back, and there's no one there to cover, so I think they end up making tactical fouls. And then both teams end up making some subs. Frimpong comes off for which is a very good youngster for Liverpool. Royo Numangolo. I think he's actually quite a good player to see and actually to keep your eyes on. And then I think Mbeno was quite angry for him to come off for Dogo, but he ends up coming off, and I don't know if it was the best sub to make. I think we were all surprised um, at 2-2 for you to go take off one of your best players. It's kind of surprising how brave you must be as a manager to take off on your best player, knowing that that the game is still to be played. There's nothing on us to win or lose, and I think you are just taking off your best player. I think hence why he was disappointed. And then Bruno Fernandes and Gabo ends up getting yellow cards. They make some more subs with Cunha coming off for Chiesa and Kanate coming off for. I think at this point, obviously, Slot made a sub, taking off Kanate and bringing on Chiesa to come off into the team, and I think hence why. They were still then they did nothing. I mean, you're taking off a defender and you're actually leaving your team more vulnerable at the back. And I think that was an opportunity that Man United were, I think it was 3-on-1 at the end. I think they ended up not making the right touch on the ball and ends up going away from the striker. And I think had it been a better touch, Man United would have punished Liverpool even further. And then the game ended up finishing, but this whole game was quite interesting. From minute one, the amount of slide tackles. I haven't seen as many slide tackles in a game quite like this one. It was but I think I suppose the slide tackles was a case of both teams were playing different formations, and I think there was very big areas of space in the field, and I think hence why they didn't know exactly what to exactly do and where to mark, what zones to mark. And I think hence why there were so many slide tackles is because you're trying to catch up to certain zones or certain areas that the players found himself in. And I think that's why there were so many tackles and so many yellow cards into the second half. But I think Man United definitely deserves this win. They were very well in control, especially when Mainu ends up scoring and ends up making a 3-2, a very good goal from him as well. I think it was at the edge of the box when the ball ends up coming as a rebound. He ends up doing a nice touch, didn't blast or anything, kept his focus, kept his calmness, and just puts it at the back of the net, saying, okay, worst case scenario, the goalkeeper will save it, but I'm going to keep this shot on target. And very well from him. And he ends up making the difference and making the opportunity for Man United to actually qualify for Champions League football next season. Then if we take a look at obviously Szoboszlai, the man of the match, I think with an assist and a goal, so very fair play from him. I think he was one of the good players in this game. I think what shocks us most about Szoboszlai is a player that he's so big, but yet he still has quite a bit of pace on him, even though he's that big of a player. Then if we look at some stats for this game, I think it was Man United had 38% ball possession, while Liverpool had 62%. So yet again, it's another fact that you don't need ball possession in order to win a game. You just need to know and have enough ball possession in order for you to do the right things with the ball. Then you had shots on target. Man United had 18. Liverpool had 13. Shots on target for Man U had 6. Liverpool had 5. Touches in the opposition box. Man United had 30. Liverpool only had 18. Big chances. The Man United had 3. Liverpool only had 1. Big chances missed. Liverpool had 0. Man United had 2. So it just shows you, even though it's a bad thing to have 2 missed chances, but I think it's better to have a chance than have nothing. Then accurate passes. Man United had 281 passes, 79% accuracy, was not really the best, whereas Liverpool had 516 passes and 88 percentage accuracy. But that you can actually say majority of Liverpool's possession was at the back. They didn't do much with it up front. I think there was not enough space ahead of them to actually do anything with it. There were always, at times in this game, Liverpool had always had 1 or 2 Man United plays on them at any given stage, and I think hence why they didn't know exactly what to do. I think they were very lucky to get 2-2, but they should have done everything possible to actually keep it 2-2 because they were never going to score the third. You could clearly see they were very, very lucky. But yeah, it is what it is. They end up being punished further, and Man United end up going with a win. Then, if you look at the zones, I mean, how the balls were played and the touches in the box. Then, if you look, obviously, Man United has qualified for Champions League football next season. No other team can actually touch them right now. So I think it's also now it's a question of Aston Villa, Liverpool, and Bournemouth. Quite surprisingly, if Aston Villa land up winning the Europa League, that means the number 5th spot becomes void and it goes to the next team, which will be Bournemouth, if they are able to stay there and actually remain in that spot. So now it's another question of can we catch up to Bournemouth? We're only 4 points behind Bournemouth. I would like to think so. I'd like to think that's another opportunity. Hopefully they can actually save us this season. It's another area that I never thought of. Possibly we can. We don't play Bournemouth this season. We have done playing them. But now it's a question of can we have a better result in terms of the next 4 games? Can we actually win our games in order to hope that Bournemouth drop one of their games and actually allow us to capitalize on them? It would be unfair in a sense, but our club is doing so poorly right now that we have nothing else to do and nothing else to hold on to. But we need champions. We definitely need Champions football for some form of aid and help to help ourselves out of this situation. So yeah, guys, this is my post review of Man United 3, Liverpool 2. Please comment down below what you guys think of this game. How did you guys see this game going? Did you guys see it going like this? Did you see Liverpool winning? Did you see them actually losing? Let me know what you guys' analysis for this game. What do you guys think of the game? How do you think the game was played? What should have each team done differently? Do you think Man United did exactly what they needed to do? I think the only thing that Man United I can actually fight with them is for them actually to concede 2 goals. I think that was kind of bad from them to concede 2 more goals and actually allow Liverpool to have a chance to actually get something from this game. But apart from that, everything else Man United did was spot on. Everything else they were prepared for and actually were better than Liverpool in this game. So guys, this is my post review. Peace.